This video, we're going to go through the steps for solving this set of sample equations. The first question, the sum of 5 and m is equal to 12. So we're going to have the sum of m plus 5, and I've written it this way just to follow the standard that we've mostly been using in class, being equal to 12. We need to undo the plus 5, so we end up with m plus 5. Now we take away 5, and again I'm showing that in my separate colour to make it clear, is equal to 12, also taking away 5, so we do the same on both sides. That means we end up with m being equal to 7. Second question, when d is doubled, the result is 24. So remembering d being doubled is d plus another d. We've got two of those d's, so that can be the same as saying 2d. All right, so that's just an important thing to remember. I know a lot of us sometimes forget that. So then we have 2d being equal to 24. Okay, and that 2d is just a better way to write this. We need to undo the 2d, so just bring it here for space. So 2d being equal to 24, to undo the 2d, we need to divide that by 2, and we need to divide that side by 2 as well. So of course we end up then with that being d being equal to 12. The product of 9 and y is 72. Find y. So of course product means multiplication, so that is just 9 times y. 9y is equal to 72. We're going to undo the 9 times, so we end up with 9y equals 72, where we are now undoing the multiply by 9 by dividing both sides by 9, and then that makes it y being equal to 8. When m is doubled and then 2 is added, the result is 12. Find m. So here's one that we're going to end up with a two-step equation. So m being doubled is 2m. Okay, that's m times m. Sorry, m and an m, sorry, not 2 times m. 2 times m, of course, would be m squared. This is 2m, and then we're adding 2 to it. So we have 2m plus 2 is equal to 12. Okay, let's start by getting rid of or undoing that plus 2. So we have 2m plus 2. Now we say minus 2 being equal to 12 minus 2. That, of course, gives us 2, oops, wrong colour. 2m is equal to 10. Okay, so now we're going to have to undo the 2m. So 2m equals 10. We undo the 2m by dividing both sides by 2, which of course then means m is equal to 5. 5 is subtracted from k. The result is tripled, giving 21. So let's think about this one for a moment. 5 is subtracted from k. So we have k minus 5. Okay, the result is tripled. That means it is multiplied by 3. So the best way to show that at the moment is like this. Okay, so 3 times whatever the result of k minus 5 is. Now we need to expand out our brackets a little bit here. This is something that we may or may not have done a lot of in class, but let's just have a quick think about it. This is 3 times the answer of k minus 5. So it's 3 times the k and 3 times the minus 5. So that can be expanded out to be 3k minus 3 times 5 is 15. All right, so that is an equivalent equation. 3 with brackets k minus 5 is the same as saying 3k minus 15. And we've been told in the question that is equal to 21. So in this format now, we know how to solve this. It is a two-step process, but we can do it. So we have 3k minus 15. Now to undo the minus, we have to plus 15 on this side, being equal to 21, also plus 15. Okay, remembering that we have a minus 15 there. So we end up with 3k being equal to 36. Now we have to undo the 3k, so that becomes 3k equals 36. We divide both sides by 3 to undo that, which of course means, we'll bring it up here, k becomes 12. Okay. 1 less than the product of 5 and y is 19. So again, the first part is the product of 5 and y. So 5 and y product is simply 5y, and we want 1 less than that. So we're going to have minus 1. So we find out the product of 5y and then take 1 away from that, and that says it's equal to 19. Okay, so we need to undo the minus 1, so that becomes 5y minus 1 plus 1 being equal to 19 plus 1. Okay, so that means we end up with 5y being equal to 20. Okay, and then we have to undo the 5y, so we end up with 5y equals 20, where we're going to undo the 5 by dividing both sides by 5 instead, which of course gives us y being equal to 4. And we've got the last one on this page, the product of 5 and t is 30. So product of 5 and t is simply 5t is equal to 30. So we have to just simply undo that 5 times t. So we end up with 5t being equal to 30, where we divide both sides by 5 to undo that. Okay, so then we end up with t being equal to 6. And that's the first page done. Second page, it's actually a continuation of this, sorry. Janita is J in years. So they've already given us the pronumeral for J, which is going to be years. Janita's mother is twice as old as Janita. The sum of their ages is 60. How old is Janita? And I think I've said that wrong. I think it's Juanita. Sorry if that's your name. We'll go with Juanita from now. So Juanita is J years old. So we'll put a J in there. So I'll put the J in there. And her mother is twice as old. So twice as old as J would be J plus J, or 2J. All right, so we're going to put a 2J in here for a second. And it says the sum of their ages is 60. So sum, of course, is addition is equal to 60. So this equation here gives us that statement, or that sentence in an equation. So J, which is Juanita's age, plus her mum, who is twice her age, so 2 of J, is equal to 60. Now remember, we're adding a J and some more J's together, so we can also rewrite this in a simple form as simply 3J, I should reduce lowercase j's, equal to 60. So that is also the same equation. Now we can simply solve that one. So for a bit of space, I put it here, 3J equals 60. To undo that, of course, we need to divide by 3 on both sides, and then that means J is equal to 20. And a rectangle has a width of 12 centimeters. A rectangle has a width of 12 centimeters and a side length of L. The perimeter of the rectangle is 54 centimeters. What is the length? Okay, so very quickly I'm going to draw a rectangle, not to scale at all, just a rectangle. It has a width of 12. So width is usually the longest measurement. So we'll go, that's 12, which means that's going to be 12, because of course that side are the same. This side and this side are the same. Okay, so the side length is L. So L and L. Okay, and the total perimeter P is equal to 54. And I'm using P because that's usually the standard pronumeral that we use for perimeter, and it makes sense. So let's have a think about this. We know that the perimeter of a rectangle, so if we were just doing P, is equal to the length plus the length, so the two lengths, plus a width plus a width. Okay, so adding up the 4 sides of this shape. We do know 2 sides, which is 12 and 12, that's the width, so let's put those in. So P at the moment is equal to length plus a 12 plus a 12. That's the 2 widths that we have, just substituting those into our equation. Can we simplify this a little bit further? Yes, we can. Okay, so the perimeter is equal to, if we've got length plus length, that's the same as 2L, and we've got a plus 12 and a plus 12, so of course that is simply plus 24. So we're getting closer to an equation that makes sense. There's one last piece of information that they have given us, and that is, of course, that P, or the perimeter, is 54. So we can put that into the equation. So we currently have 54 equals 2L plus 24. We'll swap that around, just flip over the equal, just to put it in the format that we're a bit more comfortable with. So we can now say 2L plus 24 equals 54. And we just worked out what the equation is. Now that we know that, we can see very easily that that is something that we can solve. So let's start with that. So 2L, and sorry that the L's are looking a bit like ones, plus 24. We have to undo that plus, so we're going to say minus 24 is going to be equal to 54 minus 24 as well. So that becomes 2L being equal to, what's that, 30? Okay, and to undo the 2L, of course, we divide both sides by 2. So we're going to have 2L equals 30, where we divide both sides by 2. And that's going to give us L being equal to 15. Let's continue on. Extended response questions. Camille, I think, buys a pair of skis and a snowboard for $650. The snowboard cost $220. First part asks us to define the pronumeral for the cost of the skis. So again, we know we can really technically choose any pronumeral, but let's choose something that makes sense. So we're going to say S for skis. So S equals skis, and will cost. Okay, there we go. Write an equation to describe the problem. So really we're just stepping through the process here. So the pair of skis and a snowboard cost $650. So the skis that we don't know, S, plus the snowboard, all right, equals $650. Okay, so we're just writing out this way at the moment. It then says the snowboard costs $220, so we can put that in. So we end up with S plus 220 equals 650. So now we actually have an equation that we can use. S plus 220 equals 650. We're now going to solve the equation algebraically to find the cost of the skis. So basically to find what S is. So S plus 220 equals 650. So we need to undo the plus 220. So we have S plus 220 minus 220 being equal to, equal to 650, also minus 220, doing the same on both sides. So that cancels out, of course. So that becomes S is equal to, where's my pen? Yes, it is. S is equal to, what's that, 430. Okay, so S is 430. The last part just says to state the cost of the skis. So it's looking for the worded answer. So the skis cost 430. Remembering that this is a dollar question, so we must include the unit of measurement, dollars in this case, and that is the end of that question. Okay, continuing on, Megan buys 8 plants for a total cost of $156. Define a pronumeral for the cost of 1 plant. So a plant is equal to P. That sounds like a good pronumeral to me. Write an equation to describe the problem. Well, we've got 8 plants, so 8P being equal to $156. Solve the equation algebraically, okay? 8P equals 156. We have to undo the 8P, so we're going to have 8P equals 156 and divide both sides by 8, which of course is going to make P being equal to, use my calculator, 156 divided by 8 is 19.5. Now, this B should not be here. That's actually a replication of above, so we can just cross that out. That shouldn't have been in there. That's a typo, obviously. And then D says state the cost of the plant. So, of course, helps about pen selected. 1 plant is 19.5. Remembering this is a money question, so we'll include the dollar sign. Okay. Okay, Julia gets an allowance each week from her parents. She's paid $15 per chore. Define a variable for the number of chores Julia completes. Why not C? C equals chores. Sounds good to me. Write an equation to show how the total allowance A is calculated. So here they've given us a value A. A is going to be the $15 that she gets per chore. So that makes 15C. So pretty straightforward. Now, if Julie completes 4 of her chores, well, that should say chores, not cores, for the week, use your equation to calculate how much she will get. So 15C, or A equals 15C, sorry. All right. If, and this is what we're being told, if C equals 4, so she does 4 chores, then A will be equal to 15 times 4, put that in brackets, which of course is equal to 60. Okay, and that's the answer to that one. Really should be a worded question or a worded answer then. So she will be paid, and don't forget the dollar sign because it's a money question, $60. Julie's parents decide to give Julie a bonus of $60 on top of her allowance. Write an equation to show how the total allowance A with this bonus is calculated. So from the first part of this question, we have decided that it's 15C. All right, so $15 for each chore, where C is representing the chores that she's done. And now it's a bonus of 60, so that is simply a plus a constant value of 60. So then in 1 week, Julie's allowance, including the bonus, and now we're using the formula or the equation written in D above, was a total of 165. Substitute the allowance of 165 into your equation in 3. Show this below. So let's have a look at this. The total allowance, which was A in our equation, is 165. And that is going to be equal to the 15C that we've worked out plus 60. Okay, so now we've got an equation that we can actually solve. I am just going to swap the equation around the equals so it's in the format that I'm more comfortable with. So we're going to have 15C plus 60 being equal to 165. Nothing has changed. I've just flipped them around the equal sign. So that is the equation that we have. So then F says to solve the equation algebraically to find the number of chores. So basically find what the value of C is. So now we're just doing a normal solve. So 15C plus 60 is equal to 165. We need to undo the plus 60. So we have 15C plus 60, then minus 60 being equal to 165 minus 60. So of course that becomes 15C is equal to 105. Now we need to undo the 15C. So we have 15C equals 105, where both sides get divided by 15. Okay, so that means we end up with C being equal to 105, use my calculator, divided by 15, being equal to 7. Okay, we're now asked to write the sentence describing your solution. So really it's just asking for our worded answer. So in this case, it was Julia did 7 chores this week. Okay, using the number that we've worked out for C in the part above. And the last question here, Helen gets paid $45 per hour plus a bonus of $75 each week. One particular week she earned $1,110. So let's start by defining a pronumeral for the hours Helen worked. So I'm going to say H equals hours worked. Okay, now we write the equation to describe the problem. So again, she gets $45 per hour. So 45H represents $45 per hour, or the number of hours multiplied by 45. same way of saying it. And then she gets a bonus of 75 for each week. So 45H plus 75 is how much she earned. And we know in this case she's earned $1,110. So now it says to solve the equation. So we have 40, need a pen, sorry, 40, not working. Here we go, 45H, plus 75 equals to 1110. Let's undo the plus 75 first. So we have 45H plus 75, then we need to minus 75 is equal to 1110, also minus 75. So of course that gives us 45H being equal to, use my calculator, 1110 minus 75 is equal to 1035. And then we'll come up for a bit of space here. What do we have? Sorry, get the right pen. So undo the 45H equals 1035. We're going to divide both sides by 45 to undo that. So of course we end up with H being equal to, again use my calculator, divide by 45 is equal to 23. So then it says, how many hours did Helen work for the week? Well, we've just found the answer. Helen worked 45 hours. Okay, and that's the end of our questions.